Hello, we are starting with the Homework 3 review video, and our first question is Amazon sale. Since this is a slightly lengthier question, please be really careful while reading it so that you don't miss out on any important information. So let's get started. Amazon Canada is having an online summer sale. The four categories you can shop from to get a discount are sports, technology, home decor, and books. There is a $20 shipping fee for purchases in the sports and technology categories. There's a $10 shipping fee for purchases in the home decor category, and shipping for books is free. That sounds great. So let's look at the given script and copy all of that here and paste that in my editor. If you take a look at this, you can notice I've already saved my file as homework 3 question 1 Amazon sale. All right. And okay, so looking at the information that's given here in comments to me and the first paragraph right here, I need to come up with the shipping fee. So I'm going to declare a variable called shipping underscore fee and say it is equal to 0 right now. So to actually assign values to shipping fees that agree with the question, I need to use the if statement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my if and what are my conditions. So if it's sports or technology, then the shipping fee is $20. How do I know if it's sports or technology? If category is equal to 1 or 2. So that's my first condition. Category is double equal to 1, or I'm just going to copy this and edit that to a 2. So if it's sports or technology, then my shipping fee is equal to $20. Else if my category is 3, which is home decor, oh, not 13, my bad, then my shipping fee would be equal to $10. And finally, else, if it's anything other than that, my shipping fee is free. Perfect. And I can end the statement. Another way to do this particular assignment is using switch case. So I'm just going to label this and say shipping fee using else if. And the alternative is using switch case. And how would I write that part? So I would write my switch and my case would be category. So the first case is case if my category is equal to 1. So case 1. Then my shipping fee is $20, right? So I'm going to just copy that and paste that right here. My second case is case 2. Then once again, my shipping fee is $20. My case 3 is home decor. So in that case, my shipping fee would change slightly and this would become $10. And finally, for otherwise, which is all other cases, my shipping fee would be $0. Perfect. So now that I'm done with shipping fees, I can end this. Both of these statements are completely acceptable. It totally depends on you, whichever one you're more comfortable with, unless the question explicitly mentions that you cannot use switch, or you cannot use if, or you have to use if, or have to use switch. Okay. So knowing both of them is definitely useful. I'm going to comment the switch case out because I already wrote it using if. This is a comment. All right. Okay, moving on in this question. Write a script to calculate the final amount for a person shopping. You can avail the discounts if you meet the following conditions. So the first condition is if you have a UW student ID, you have a 10% discount. The second one is for Prime subscription holders, then you have a 15% discount. If you have a MasterCard, you have a 25% discount. And in a special case, if you have a Prime subscription, a MasterCard, and spend over $500, you get a 50% discount. There's a really important note right here, which is very crucial to the question. Please note that two discounts cannot be combined, so we need to make sure that the discounts are kept separate. If a person is eligible for two discounts, the greater of the two will be applied. For example, Kasturi has a UW student ID and a Prime subscription. She will only receive a 15% discount and not a 25% discount. So keeping that in mind, I'm going to think how to write my if statements. Now, if you take a look at these three conditions, it's 10, 15, and 25. So if a student satisfies multiple conditions, I need to make sure that the student gets the maximum discount, right? For this, I would like you guys to take a look at this particular section of the lecture notes / the lecture videos. So if you take a look at how if-else if statements works, if condition 1 is true, then action 1 is executed and we directly go to end, which is at line 9. So none of the following conditions are executed if the first one is true. And if the first one is false, then we go to the next condition, and if that's true, then we again, after executing the action, we skip the rest of the else and else if statements and skip directly to the end, right? So if I were to write a very simple code where I would say that if they have a UW student ID, the discount would be 10%, and then Prime would be 15, MasterCard would be 25. And if the student, suppose, say had a UW student ID and a MasterCard, my code would check for the student ID first, it would assign 10% of the discount, and then directly skip to the end without even checking for my Prime subscription or the MasterCard, which would be a problem because that's not what I want. What I do want is for the student to get the maximum discount. How I can solve this problem is by flipping the order of the discounts. So I would start with the maximum, the MasterCard, then the Prime, and then the UW student ID. Why this is a better idea is because if the student has a MasterCard and can avail the 25% discount, then I don't have to worry about him having a Prime subscription or a UW student ID because he's already been given the greatest discount, right? So that's what we're going to write in our code. So we're going to start with the MasterCard. So if MasterCard double equal to 1, then my discount is equal to 0.25. Else if the next one is my Prime subscription. So what's the variable name for that? That's Prime sub. Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it right here. So if Prime sub is double equal to 1, then my discount is equal to 0.15. And else if my student ID right here why am I typing? I just copied that. Double equal to 1. Then my discount would be 0.1010%. And finally, in any other case, my discount would be 0, right? And I can end my if statement. So this is how I would go about assigning my discount percentages. And if you look at the fourth condition, that's a special condition. So if you have a Prime subscription and a MasterCard and have spent over $500, you will get a 50% discount. So for this one, I would like to make a separate if statement just because I personally feel that it looks cleaner, but you can 100% include it in this same if loop. You would have to include it at the top before the MasterCard, so that because that's the greatest discount, right? But I would like to make a separate if loop for it just for this particular condition. So I'm going to say if Prime subscription is true, so this part I'm going to copy it and paste it here, and the condition is joined to a MasterCard and it's joined by an AND. So I'm gonna use the AND operator right here and then say it also has a MasterCard. And then the final condition is you have spent over $500. So how do I know how much I've spent? That's this variable card total. It's the number representing how much the person spends. All right. So, and also this statement is also joined with the MasterCard and Prime subscription with an AND keyword. So you're going to use the AND operator. Here I'm going to say card total is greater than 500. All right. And if this is true, then my discount is equal to 0.50, right? And that's it, end. I just wanted to write a different if statement because it's neater like this, but please feel free to include this in the same if loop. And also this code will work fine because this is a new if loop, right? So after going through this entire loop, it assigns some sort of a value to discount. But after that, when it starts with this statement, if the particular customer satisfy all the three of these conditions, then it's going to override the discount value that it counted here and end up giving it the maximum discount value, which is 50, right? So this code is going to work perfectly fine. So I have my discount, I have my shipping fee. It's time to calculate my total. The final amount is calculated by subtracting the discount and then adding the shipping fee. Please note that the discount is only applied to the cart total and does not apply to shipping fees. Assign the final amount to be paid in a variable called final amount. So I'm going to declare a new variable called final amount. And I'm going to say cart total times 1 minus discount. This is my cart total minus cart total times discount, right? And this would be added to my shipping fee because the discount would not affect my shipping fee at all. There we go. One important thing to keep in mind right here would be that if you are somehow writing discount differently, suppose you're writing this to be 1 minus whatever discount percentage this is, be very careful in your final equation. You don't want to multiply something with a 0, right? So just be really careful about that. Why do I have an error statement here? Unable. Oh, it has an invalid file name. That is strange. Why? Let me rename the file. Homework 3, question 1, Amazon. So yeah, this should work. Okay, and what's the issue here? That's fine. I have used my shipping fee and I've used it here too. Alright, so let's run this code. And I have all my values here. They look good. Yeah, I have my discount. Perfect. And I can check here. My discount here is 50%. I have my MasterCard, I have my Prime subscription, and my cart total is 834, which is more than 500, right? So this is the right answer. Good. So I'm going to take here, and where's my script? Okay, it starts here. So I'm going to copy all of that, copy it, and paste it right here. There we go. Submit. Perfect. Hello, we're now starting with homework 3 question 2 shear modulus. As you can see, I have already saved my code. Let's get started by reading the question. The modulus of rigidity or shear modulus is a measure of the elastic shear stiffness of a material and is the ratio of shear stress to shear strain given as, and that's the formula that's been given to me. So for my own reference, I'm going to write that as a comment. So my modulus, so shear modulus, oh my god, this is how you spell it, yeah. This equals shear stress divided by shear strain. All right. Different materials have different shear moduli based on their physical properties. The shear moduli for 7 different materials are given below. So I have a little table and I have different values of the shear modulus according to the material. So this value has been given to me already. Shear stress is contained in stress data. The data are created from the following code. So I have also been given stress data, which is the shear stress. So this particular value. So it seems from the question that I'll have to calculate this particular value. So let's make this the subject of the equation. How do we do that? We're going to write shear strain equals shear stress divided by shear modulus. All right. This is now the question and also the subject of my equation. Okay, let's keep reading. So I have been given a code already. I'm going to take that and paste it right here. There we go. Please read the comments really carefully because they give you a clue as to what each of these variables are. So material char is a vector and it contains different alphabets that kind of denotes what these various materials are, okay? So material data contains a character that indicates the material of the stress measurement given in stress data. Please write a script to determine the shear strain. Yes, that's my variable. When the shear stress data and material are given, you will assign the shear strain for each measurement to shear underscore strain. You do not need to consider units for shear modulus as stress, and you need to use a switch statement. Do not use if-else statements. So in this particular question, I should not be even thinking of using any kind of if statements. It just has to be a switch case. All right. So let's take a look at what variables have already been given. Num material is the number of materials. That's just counting how many materials there is. That's the numeral function. Stress data is a randomly generated data. So shear stress value which are randomly generated, right? So that's one value, anything till 10,000. And material data is material cal randomly generated num material. So a material initial that is stored within this particular variable name, right? So this variable name, this variable basically picks one of the materials from this array and stores it in it. So that's telling you what is the material whose shear strain you're going to be calculating, and that's the shear stress value that's been given for you. So let's take a look at this. Stress data does not change. That has already been assigned. So your shear stress part of the equation does not change at all. However, your shear modulus does change. And what is it dependent on? It's dependent on the material that you've been provided with. So that's the one I'm going to be checking in my switch case. My switch case value will be my variable name material data. And the different cases would be if material data equals A, if material data equals I, if it equals H, C, P, S, or T. And accordingly, my modulus value will keep changing, right? Okay, so I am gonna start my switch case right here. I'm gonna say switch material underscore data. All right. And please remember, what does switch case check for? It checks for equality. So it checks if the variable material data is equal to any of the following cases. So my case 1 would be case A. Oh, not 1, sorry, A. And if my case is A, then what changes? My modulus changes, and what my modulus will be is A is aluminum, so it's going to be 24. So I'm going to declare a variable called modulus and say this equals 24 if it's aluminum. My second case is case I, which is iron, cast iron. And in that case, let's just copy this. Okay, my modulus will be 41. My next case is if it's H, which is chromium. And for chromium, my modulus value is 115, so 115. The next case is concrete, so C. And for concrete, it is 21. We have plywood, which is denoted by P. All right. And plywood, the modulus is 0.62. Wow, that's low. All right. Next, we have case stainless steel, which is an S. Modulus value is 77.2. End. All right, perfect. And after this, I'm just going to do a quick check. I'm going to see that I have all my variables. I have my A, yes. I have my I, yes. I have my H, C, P, S, and T. Perfect. And what do I need to calculate? I need to calculate the shear strain when the shear stress and material are given. So this way I have found the modulus value from the material data value, and my stress data is already given to me. So how do I calculate my strain? It's stress divided by modulus. So I'm going to say my shear strain equals stress data divided by modulus. That's all. And I'm done with my question. So I'm going to run this. I'm going to check this. Everything looks good. My material data is T and T is 18, and that's what my modulus is. Looks great. Perfect. So I'm going to take all of this, my script here, copy this. Submit. Perfect. All tests passed. Be careful while using the switch cases. Do not try to compare a single character with an entire array. So you cannot compare material char with each of these cases. You need to compare material data because you're checking for a particular value of a particular variable, right? Okay. We're now starting with homework 3, question 3, number change. As you can see, I've already saved my file. Okay. You're going to evaluate single integer numbers x1, x2, and x3. So as you can see, I have already been given my x1, x2, and x3, and I have some code here right at the bottom. So I'm going to copy all of this, copy, and I'm going to paste it right here. Be careful not to edit any of the given scripts, so you just enter and write your code in between here. Okay. So if x1 is a multiple of 3 or a multiple of 5, assign 15 to the variable named val1, otherwise assign 0 to val1. So I have been given a set of conditions, and if those conditions are true, then I need to perform a certain action. If not, I need to perform a different action. Therefore, I'm going to use my if statement. So I'm going to write my if, and let's check out the conditions. x1 is a multiple of 3. How do I check if a number is a multiple of another number? I need to make sure that it's divisible. So then I use my rem function, and if the remainder is equal to 0, that means it is a multiple. And if it's not equal to 0, it means it's not a multiple. Okay, so I'm going to write my rem. I check if x1 is a multiple of 3 and equal to 0. Okay, or, so my keyword is or here. I'm going to use my or operator. A multiple of 5. So I'm going to copy this exact statement, and I'm going to change that 3 to a 5. Okay. What's my action statement? Assign 15 to the variable named val1. So val1 equals to 15. Else, assign 0 to val1. So else val1 equals 0. And that's it. Oh, not EMD, my bad. End. Perfect. So this is my part A right here. Let's take a look at comment. Part B. Okay. If x2 is a multiple of 3 but not a multiple of 5, assign 3 to the variable named val2. Otherwise, assign 0 to val2. So this sounds really similar to part A, so it's going to take a really similar format. I'm going to use my if statement. My first condition is once again x2 is a multiple of 3. So I'm going to use the same rem function to check if the remainder of x2 divided by 3 is equal to 0. So rem x2 comma 3 equals 0. And what's the second condition? But not a multiple of 5. So then I need to use my rem function again and say x2 comma 5. And this time it needs to be not equal to 0 because it's not equal to 0. And how do I separate these two statements? Both of these statements need to be true in order for my val2 to be assigned to 3, right? So I need this to be the AND operator so that both my conditions need to be satisfied in order for it to perform the action, okay? And what's the action? It's val2 equals 3, else val2 equals 0. Okay, that's an end statement right there. Okay, and my part C now. So part C, if x3 is a multiple of 3, assign 3 to the variable named val3. If x3 is a multiple of 5, assign 5 to val3. However, if x3 is a multiple of 15, you have to assign 15 to val3. Otherwise, assign 0 to val2. So here, since there's multiple different conditions, instead of writing all of them in an if statement and jumbling it all up, I'm going to actually define all of these conditions separately. So it's easier for me to keep track of them when I'm writing my if statements, okay? So I'm going to say my condition 1 is to check if x3 is a multiple of 3. So I'm going to write rem x3, x3 comma 3 double equal to 0. This is checking if x3 is a multiple of 3. My condition 2 would be to check if x3 is a multiple of 5. So I'm just going to copy the same statement right here and edit the 3 to a 5. Okay? And my condition 3 would be, again, the same statement. And instead of 3, I'm checking for 15 now, right? Okay. So these are the 3 different things I need to check for. So let's start writing my if statement. If I just write something like if condition 1 is true, then val 3 equals 3. Else if condition 2, then val 3 equals 5. Else if condition 3, val 3 equals 15. Else val 3 equals to 0. Is this correct? No, because this question clearly mentions if x3 is a multiple of 15, you have to assign 15 to val 3. Now let's take an example. Let's think of the number 30. So what's going to happen when 30 goes through this? Suppose x3 is 30, right? So what happens here? 30 is divisible by 3, so condition 1 is going to be true. And my program is going to check if it's true. Yes, it is. And it's going to assign 3 to val 3. And since in the if-else if statements, if the first condition or any of the conditions is true, it does not check the following conditions. So it's not going to check if 30 is divisible by condition 2. It's not going to check if it's divisible by condition 3. And it's just going to assign 3 to val 3 and end it at that. However, if you read the question carefully, since 30 is divisible by 15, I have to assign 15 to val 3. So this needs to run. So what do? I need to make some edits to these conditions. I can say and not condition 3. So that way I'm making sure that this number is not a multiple of 15. Okay? And same for this. So this is going to foolproof my answer. Another way to write my script, optional script, would be to flip the order of the conditions. Like I said, how does the if-else if statements work? If a condition is satisfied, then it does not check the following conditions. However, if you think about it, any number that's divisible by 15 will also be divisible by 3 and 5. So I can just put condition 3 at the top, right? So I can say if condition 3, then val 3 equals 15. Else if condition 2, then val 3 equals 15. Else if condition 1, val 3 equals, oh, this should not be 15, this should be 5, right? And this should be 3. Okay. And else val 3 equals 0. End. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment this section out for the first time. Oh my god. One sec. What's happening? What is happening? I'm missing it every time. There you go. Finally. Okay, so I'm commenting this code and running my script. If you take a look here, everything looks good. I'm gonna copy paste my script and run it once. Right here. Submit. There we go, all tests passed. And I'm also gonna resubmit my code once again. So I'm gonna delete this. I am going to comment this section out, and I'm gonna uncomment this second part of this code, the optional script. All right, and I'm gonna run that code, okay? Just to check if both of the codes give me the same answer. Oh no, I did not select it properly. Let's try again. Yes, there we go. Okay, so your script here, Control V. Okay, let's try submitting again. All tests passed. So I can use either one of these scripts, depending on your choice, whichever one you find more comfortable understanding, use that one. Okay, perfect.